Hey YouTube, what's up? Dr. T here from St. Petersburg in Florida. So I've just come to the end of a short coding session on my ever ongoing Code Grid World project when I got to thinking about the ultimate problem in AI, namely getting code to write code. And I was wondering how to automate something like this. You have the program take care of the cursor, get it to go up to, say, I want to create a new file. Click on this, having the code actually get it to do this. Then bring it over here and create a new file. So we're going to do another helper, GW underscore helper. So the next one is 5.py. Then have the cursor under autonomous control. Click on this and bring us up a new file. Well, I went to Google and I searched automate with Python. And I came across this. Automate the boring stuff with Python, practical programming for beginners. So by Al, let's take a look at his name. So, the smart thing to do is to go along to YouTube. I've already done this, I'm just going through it again. I'm not being clever here. So in the process of things, I went along and put in his name, and up we get some stuff. So he's given a presentation. So let's take a little bit look at the presentation, and I'll bring you on to the goodies. So I'm going to go to the beginning. We'll watch this for a bit because it's really an interesting little find, which I think many of you might find really kind of interesting. So watch some of this.
Hello, yes, okay. I'm Al Swigert. Hi, how's everyone doing? That's great, yeah. So I've been programming in Python for a number of years now. I really like programming. I really like the attention to detail that programming requires from you. In fact, I like it so much that I wrote a book about programming. It's called Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. It's released under a Creative Commons license, so you can go online and read the full book at automatetheboringstuff.com. And one of the benefits of doing this was that I can look at the web analytics and see where all the traffic's going. And a lot of people seem to really like the web scraping and GUI automation chapters. So that's what I decided to make this talk about. I'm going to be talking about Selenium and also another module called PyAutoGUI. So, wow, web scraping. This is a huge topic. Pretty much a lot of the stuff that we do on the computer is really stuff that we do on the web. Like if you've ever been in one of those terrifying situations where you don't have Wi-Fi and you just kind of like instinctively open your web browser and then realize, oh, that's right. And so you close your web browser and then you open your web browser again to check Twitter and so, oh, right, I don't have internet. The internet is a big part of what we do on our computers. And so it's really great if we can write software that can interact with websites and pull content off of that. But unfortunately, that requires knowing a lot about networking protocols and HTTP and how to handle errors. And so I've listed all those details on this next slide. Oh, well, okay. Anyway, forget about that. You actually don't have to know about any of those details because there is a tool called Selenium. And you can have it on Python just by running pip install Selenium or Selenium, however you want to pronounce it. And this is a module that will actually launch a web browser that you can control programmatically from your Python script. So you can tell it where to go. And so this way, this web browser can handle all the web browser stuff that automatically happens. Like it can run JavaScript and you can easily log into things. You don't have to know about get and post and cookies and setting all of that other low-level networking stuff. Selenium will do a lot of this for you automatically. And so this is kind of what Selenium looks like. When I first heard about this tool, it was something that the QA department was using. They were like creating this automated test suite for the web app, and it sounded really complicated, so I sort of just put off learning about it. But actually, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, you can learn all the basics and then start using it. And that's about 90% of what you need. So I fit it all onto this one slide. There's a few tiny little warts about it. One of them is you have to run like from Selenium import WebDriver. You can't just have import Selenium. And there's a few other warts that I'll be going over as well. But yeah, you just import it. You can run webdriver.firefox or webdriver.chrome. You can set up different browsers to run, and this will actually launch a web browser that appears on your desktop, and your script can then control it. You just have this browser object that it returns. You can direct it to a website. You can find some sort of HTML element that's on that web page by passing it a CSS selector, and this is really complicated, but there's a cheat that I'll go into in a little bit. But yeah, once you have that element, just a paragraph tag or a text field or a checkbox or a button, you can then read what text it has. So you can read what the text on the web page is. If it's a checkbox or a button, you can click on it. And then you can just quit from the browser, and that'll just shut everything down for you. So this is a lot of telling and not showing. So I'm going to do something that is highly ill-advised, and that is I'm going to do a live demo of this code. So I am breaking out of PowerPoint right now. Oh, not quite yet. I'm gonna go to this next slide. So this is that CSS selector stuff. I'm gonna show you exactly how you can use Selenium. So I'm just gonna run idle. Oh man, everything can go wrong. Like Wi-Fi could cut out, anything. It'll just be an awkward mess, but let's see if I've appeased the gods and this will work. So from Selenium, import WebDriver. You want to get your browser object. I have Chrome, and you can see, boom, just this web browser just automatically pops up. And you can do something like, I don't know, just go to, because I want to plug my book again, automate the boring stuff.com. No syntax errors, that's great. And so now you can programmatically control this web browser to do whatever you want. 11 minutes into this presentation, and I've already covered basically all you need to know to start writing automated tests for your web app. It's that simple. But let's say you're, apparently there are apps that aren't web apps these days. Who knew? And using Selenium won't work for that. You need to control stuff that's outside the browser. So there's a much more broader tool that does GUI automation, and this is a very fancy word or term that just means writing programs that can control the mouse and keyboard on your computer. So if you have some desktop application and you want to automatically check, I want to click on this menu and then click on this sub-menu item and make sure all these things appear, you can just directly do that in automated fashion by controlling the mouse and keyboard directly. And so the tool that I'm using for this is one that I wrote, actually, called PyAutoGUI. I basically wrote this because there was a lot of existing GUI automation modules for Python, but none of them were for Python 2 and 3, and some of them were just for Windows or just for Mac. So I wanted something that worked on every single major operating system out there. And also I wanted something with a really simple API. So I kind of just did a lot of copying and pasting and a bunch of testing and came up with PyAutoGUI. And there's a documentation that is mostly up to date at readthedocs.org. And so I tried to make this a really easy, straightforward tool to use. So here's all the functions for controlling the mouse. I mean, if you want to click the mouse wherever it is, you can just call pyautogui.click. If you wanted to click somewhere on the screen, you can just pass XY coordinates there. And it has things for double click and right click. The click function itself has all sorts of keyword.
So he's introduced the Python assisting code library that he created to work with his book. Now, if we go back to that former page, so click back, and we'll see that he has actually got a course on here. So you click on this and you come to the beginning of his course, where he goes through all of the chapters in his book and gives a presentation about what's in the book and how to use it. And on top of that, if you want to acquire the book via PDF, you've only got to PDF that name, and lo and behold, there we are. Automate the boring stuff with Python PDF, and you get the book. And there we've got 500 pages of book. So you can come down here a little bit, and there's all of the chapters. So this is an incredible find for doing some research into this kind of stuff. There is a guy who's written this book, wonderful open sharing attribute to this guy. Got to give him mega kudos. It must have taken him a long time. This is a high caliber book. I mean, it's not Mickey Mouse. It's got all of the standard stuff of how you would publish. If you go into other kind of textbooks, you'll find it similar to this. So he's really on the ball in terms of presentation of how you would write something that was going to be publishable, and he's made it available to the public. So there's the PDF book you can get. There's his course you can get. You can watch the rest of his tutorial on that thing, and hey, go play, go learn. I've got other things to do right now, but I put this on a save. We'll come back later and play around with it. So I hope you find that useful. Don't forget to subscribe to find all of the goodies that come down my channel, and I'll see you next time.